Showboat Invitational, making it the PBA Tour's longest running event. And there you take a look at Mike Edwards, 36 years old, been on the tour since 1982, just one PBA title.
And a fine opening shot for Mike Edwards, who's moved a little bit inside, Gary. He practiced from the outside trajectory. He's moved himself in more toward the center around the third arrow. Working well so far.
Mike, the 4th seed in the tournament, and here you see the 2nd seed, Ryan Shafer, who will bowl 2nd. And Ryan Shafer leaving a 4-pin on his first shot, Marshall.
And it looks like he just got a little too much energy when he released the ball with his lift. A little too strong with the lift, maybe not enough speed. Ball crept in just a little high.
And we see how Ryan did this week, starting out in 10th place and winding up again as our 2nd seed. But Marshall, with a 56-game format, a guy can certainly come from well off the pace, as witnessed by Jason Couch.
Yeah, Jason was an 80th in the first round and came all the way back to lead our tournament, going for the spare, and no problem for Ryan Shafer, marking in the first frame.
And next up will be Amleto Monacelli, our bowlers today on lanes 55 and 56, and they averaged 230, just under 230. Our 4 bowlers in the championship round today on these 2 lanes.
Great scoring this week.
Marshall looked like he came in high on that one.
Well, he came in dangerously high and very fortunate just to leave the 4-pin.
Amleto Monacelli won the Showboat Invitational in 1988, looking to win it a decade later, and we see how he did, starting out 3rd in the first round and winding up 3rd after Friday's match play.
Hooking the ball at the 4-pin, and he also makes the spare.
Mike Edwards now up. Mike is part Cherokee, Choctaw, and Creek Indian, inducted into the American Indian Sports Hall of Fame last year, the only PBA member to receive that honor.
And for a 10-pin lead early, he gets the strike on lane 56. Here's a shot of Mike Edwards we see in replay. Very good projection down the lane, playing around the 3rd arrow. Ball ends up high, flush in the pocket. All the pins do their job, and Mike takes a 10-pin lead.
Ryan Shafer next in lane 55.
Better speed.
Trying to help it over there, Marshall, and it did not work.
Well, so often happens on Pro Bowlers Tour when a guy goes high on one lane, comes in a little light on the next. We see our CBS Mac Cam, the ball just a little bit light in the pocket, didn't get enough of the head pin, and he leaves the 4 and the 8.
Ryan, by the way, voted PBA Rookie of the Year in 1987, the same year that you, Mr. Holman, were Player of the Year, 1987.
Well, I appreciate the mention. That was a long time ago. Ryan Shafer certainly has improved over the years, especially in his spare shooting, and he converts the difficult.
Ryan Shafer opens up with a couple of spares. Amleto Monacelli now, his 2nd frame, and he opened up with a spare.
And we saw Amleto a few weeks ago on our telecast, and he did not bowl a very good game. I really look for Amleto to get zeroed in today. He's a great player. That's got to hurry. Look at that ball come back into the pocket.
And leaves the 10-pin.
The soft 10 wasn't meant to be on that shot, but looks as if he's throwing the ball better in that shot. Well, take a look at his release. It's almost like a lawnmower starting up. He lifts out, sort of pulls back a little bit, gets a lot of energy on the ball. Hard and straight from the 10-pin, and just hangs on.
Amleto usually pretty solid on those and just did pick up the 10. Mike Edwards, 11 pins over Monacelli and 12 over Ryan Shafer. It is early, though. We are through 2 frames. Mike Edwards up once again. Mike looking to earn $1 million and make the Hall of Fame. Kind of lofty goals.
Well, he's going to have to win a few tournaments to do that. This to take a 20-pin lead. Edwards is going well right now, putting a lot of pressure on the other 2 players. we take a look at Mike Edwards, watch the projection out onto the lane, and take a look at the 6-pin, Gary. It's going to go into the gutter, or into the channel, and knock back into the 10-pin, getting the strike and doing the work.
Ryan Shafer now. And a solid shot from Shafer.
The power that I talked about earlier, Ryan Shafer really energizes the ball, and when he hits light, that's where he throws most of his strikes. Well, Amleto certainly doesn't want to lose touch with Mike Edwards. Right now, he trails significantly by 21 pins. Needs a strike here to get himself set up for the next frame. And solid 9-pin, and that's... Take a look at the ball that goes through the pins. It shows absolutely no respect for the 3-pound, 10-ounce pins. The ball goes in front of the 9-pin. He knows he's made a good shot, and he knows he got a terrible break.
Monacelli picks up the spare in frame number 3. We'll be back with more from the Showboat Invitational in a moment. Welcome back. We've completed 3 frames in the shootout round of the Showboat Invitational. Mike Edwards perfect through 3, 22 pins over both Shafer and Monacelli. Now for the Alka-Seltzer Friday night recap, where the position round determined who made today's TV finals. Jason Couch won his last 4 games to claim the top seed. He was very strong last night, Marshall.
He certainly was. And here we see Walter Ray Williams Jr., the PBA's all-time leading money winner, on 11 in a row. He shoots 300. A couple games later, shoots 297, but just misses. And in our final game, Amleto Monacelli, he bowls 279 to vault into the top 4 today.
And Lenny Borish, who had the lead partly Friday night, dropped from 3rd to 5th, 15 pins short of making our telecast. That's this week's Alka-Seltzer Friday night recap. You know, they've had a sensational tournament this week here in Las Vegas. Largely responsible for its success is B. Goodwin, Director of Bowling Operations for the Showboat Bowling Center. Great job. And again, Mike Edwards will begin frame number 4. They've got to catch him. Marshall, his shots have been right on target. He is bowling very strongly so far through 3 frames.
Well, he certainly is, Gary, and he's 22 pins up on both of his oppositions, and now with a strike here can take it to 32. Really wants to apply the pressure. It's got a hold, and the ball did. That ball looked a little bit inside his target as he released it, but had the good speed and projection as the ball goes down the lane and takes care of all the 10 pins. Now watch as this ball is inside of his target. He's been hitting around the 14 board. That hit 15 or 16, but it took care of everything, and a great reaction from Mike Edwards as he knows he's really applied the pressure on these other 2 competitors.
Ryan Shafer now on lane 55 in the 4th frame. And Ryan answers Mike's strike in frame number 4.
And he made the good adjustment on that lane, Gary. He came in light, leaving the 4-8 in the previous frame on 55, but flush in the pocket, got all the pins to dance off the lane, and now Amleto Monacelli, who's working on a spare, really needs to start to get something going right now as he trails by 32 pins.
And presently in the heat of World Cup competition, Amleto Monacelli, a huge soccer fan, loves the Italian squad. Coming up next, live coverage of the Buick Classic from Rye, New York. It's all coming up next here on CBS Sports, the Buick Classic from Rye at the Westchester Country Club, R71. So far, Mike Edwards working on a perfect game in frame number 5, looking for his 5th consecutive strike.
And he got it, and he's not worried about that perfect game right yet, Gary. He's really thinking about trying to keep the distance away from these 2 other bowlers that he's bowling against. Take one more look at Mike Edwards, a style you'd want to teach your son or daughter. Very traditional, and there's a great strike. He knows it's good right now. Will it strike? It does.
Shafer trying to stay close. Going to help Marshall. 3 consecutive now for Shafer after opening up with a couple of spares.
Take a look at Ryan Shafer. Watch as he releases the ball. He actually comes up a little bit, and that's how he develops all the power to enable himself to get the ball to come from that right-hand angle, charging very hard back into the pocket.
Amleto Monacelli certainly has his work cut out. 42 down to Mike Edwards right now.
And with that strike there, he stays close enough. He's still around. He's only 32 down. We've bowled 5 frames, and we've got ourselves quite a match.
Mike Edwards, like many bowlers, enjoys the game of golf. Also likes rollerblading and computers, as many people do as well.
And Mike has really found something. He struggled in practice, and he made the good adjustment, and that's a key. You have to play the lanes where they'll help you. You can see the ball rolling over the 3rd arrow, going back to around 10, and just